We are live, and what are we looking into? I yesterday came across this one video, or just a post. It seems like it was an interview of a research scientist from OpenAI, and I don't know what university is this. Is this like MIT or something? It looks like MIT, but he is talking about how can you create wealth in this new economy. So let's look at it. And there was a quick, yeah, I think this is the quick grok summary that I just read. OpenAI's Hyung Won Chung discusses AI as a powerful leverage tool for wealth creation. Humans underestimate gradual changes. AI amplifies output while learning acceleration agents, scalable labor, code hybrid, and scientific synthesis. New leverage type enables supercharged individual small teams and humanity scale progress. Focus on scarce skills like curiosity. So let's look into this. Also, it's getting really hot. Okay. All right, let's go.
Quick intro of yourself before we get started.
Yeah, sure. I'm Kyungwon, and good to be here today. So I have been working on this AI stuff for a few years, and I have at OpenAI. I've been mainly focusing on O1 preview, O1, and most recently deep research, and now I'm more on this agent side of things. And so very excited about reasoning and.
Oh, that's very interesting. Right after this interview, we can dig deep and dive into the OpenAI release. OpenAI is supposed to have a release in 25 minutes.
Agents and just those things out. So, okay, great. Right, let me get started. So I will talk about some AI stuff today, obviously, but before that, let's actually start looking at, let's see, this ChatGPT generated image of a flower, a blank flower. If you stare at this for like a minute or 10 minutes, you don't really see any change. Does that mean there's no change underlying this process? There is, and if you wait long enough, then you'll see some big changes to a full-blown rose. And so what I'm trying to get at with this toy image is that we're really not good at perceiving the changes that occur in, like minute or like even a day or years, but we're pretty good at minute and hour scale changes. So I think there's probably an evolutionary explanation for this, where if you can perceive the changes in the environment in the changes in minutes, probably very helpful for survival. And if you, for like the changes in over a year, not so much. So I think that probably is some built-in deficiency that we probably need to correct. So why am I talking about this? I think
Underestimating the magnitude of changes by AI, especially its impact on the original mechanism.
AI is probably the fastest moving technology of all time. Even then, it doesn't move in like minutes or hours. It still moves over a few years time frame or even decades. So I think, given this deficiency I just talked about, we might be underestimating the change, especially the magnitude of the change this AI is bringing about. And so I think at this point, I don't have to convince that AI is important. Even a few years ago, I started my talk like that, but now I think that's given. But I do want to emphasize that maybe what everyone's thinking about how big of this change is very different. And if anything, I think we might be underestimating it. And especially for this AI, which I'm going to argue is a leverage mechanism for individuals and humanity as a whole, that aspect might be somewhat underestimated. I'll get into the details of what I mean by that, but let's build intuition slowly at a time, starting with this key word, leverage. So it's a very important concept and used in a somewhat casual way, informally, and sometimes overloaded and depends on this context. Especially in the Silicon Valley Bay Area, this term is used a lot. I think this is such an important word that it's worth spending some time and building an intuition around this. So for me, the first encounter of this concept was probably this classical mechanics where we have this lever. So in this case, let's think about this, try to put some pressure force down on the left-hand side on the screen, and then as an output of that, we're kind of lifting up the 1 kilogram mass on the right. So the lever, if we enlarge this lever, and then we can actually lift up heavier objects. So what this means is that the input downward force is the same, but by increasing this leverage, the output was increased by 3x. And so this actually is a very general concept, and I'd like to pull out, maybe this is my working definition of leverage. It's a mechanism through which a small change or no change in input results in larger change or very large change in output. And this is a very general thing, and it's not just about the classical mechanics context that we just saw. I think it can be applied to many other places. And so this actually is a very important concept, and many people want to increase the output. I want to contribute more. I want to generate more. Then the first thing, the most natural thing that comes to our mind is probably, how do I work harder? How can I increase my input? I want to sleep less and things like that. But I think there's a certain limit to it. Instead, the more important question is, how do I increase the output without actually increasing the input? Or how can I disconnect the relationship between the input and the output, or linear relationship between them? And that is getting to the core of this leverage mechanism. And so what you're looking for there is, what leverage mechanism do I have and can I have? And that's, if you want to increase the output, that's the question that we have to think about. And as a general concept, many different ways of thinking about this leverage. My personal favorite is by Hopkins, and from this book, actually, I have it, in here. I strongly recommend it. So this is.
I have it right over here with me as well, but it's sitting on my computer.
Not by this book, but it's just a collection of many of his thoughts, like tweets and so on. According to Naval, there are three types of leverage, and human labor, capital, and good and media. So let's think about these things individually. So first type is human labor, and this is the oldest type of leverage, and as such, probably the most familiar one. And so, as an example, let's think about a scenario where I want to build a pyramid. Without the leverage, I'll be building alone, and that's probably quite difficult. And with leverage, I can hire thousands of human workers, and so my input is probably the same, or even less. I don't have to work as much, but the output is much higher because there are thousands of people working on this. So this is kind of the leverage type of the permission, because I need to ask the permissions of these people. And we still have this human labor as one of the main leverage mechanisms in the society. Second type is the capital. So let's think about this scenario where I'm investing in real estate that's worth $1 million. I only have 200K, so I do borrow 800K from the bank. And let's say I get lucky and this thing gets doubled in valuation to $2 million. It just doubled, but my return is 40% or 5%, but it just went up by a lot more because I just borrowed more from it. And so this is kind of the second type, and I think it's more of a common thing for 20th century and so on. So third type is more recent thing, especially more common in the Bay Area, which is the code, and so more of a software type. And so if I write a code for an app, I build it, and then there's one user who gets the value n. Let's suppose that number is positive, and while I'm sleeping, one more user downloads it and I installed it and gets another value n. So output just doubled without me having to do any additional work. So it's possible because it's a software which is copy and pasted, which is a very interesting nature of this, and a lot of the recent value has been created leveraging this. So, and media is similar in that, let's say I give a lecture to 200 people. Those people got some value, again, assuming that's positive. I posted it on YouTube. Any additional view of the same lecture, I don't have to do any work, but somehow the value goes up, and the limit is actually pretty much endless. So that's the new type of leverage too. And historically, large wealth creation utilized these forms of leverage. And so, like the 20th century's wealth, a lot of the financial industry is leveraged a lot of this capital leverage. And then recently, especially in this Bay Area, tech companies have leveraged the fact that if you write code, the output can be multiplied pretty much indefinitely. And then, so those are the wealth creation mechanisms. And if you look at the history of wealth, big wealth generated, then you can probably identify such a leverage. So, but then the upside of the leverage mechanism is also competed away. And so what I mean by that is, if something is good, then maybe you would realize it, and that's going to be competition. So if you start a company that is only leveraging this, the fact that it's a software, doesn't leverage other technologies, then it's probably much harder to succeed now compared to, say, 20 years ago. Or maybe I'm less familiar with this, but YouTuber, you want to become a YouTuber now, probably more difficult than 10 years ago based on the competition. So what I'm trying to get at is when this leverage mechanism just became possible because of some technology, much larger values and returns are possible then, and then it's going to be competed away. So I think it's really important to think about what are the new leverage mechanisms that are becoming available. And so obviously I'm going to argue that AI is the relatively new one that is coming into the picture, and it's slowly expanding its scope and reach. So from individual levels to groups of people, and to the point where it can benefit entire humanity. So let's maybe start looking at this at an individual level. I personally use AI, or ChatGPT for me is in an education context. So that's probably the biggest one for me, and I think I spend a lot of time, especially weekends, just learning about new concepts and asking. Now I can talk about this even hours and just learning about new things. And so here, just again, if you think about leverage, and when I think about AI as leverage, just learning what is an input and output. The input is my time and effort to understand some concept that I don't understand, and the output is the conceptual understanding happening in my brain, and maybe also some knowledge, but that's less of an important thing. So with the AI, this given input results in larger output. So let's say if I'm trying to learn some specific things about a distributed system, then before this kind of a generative AI, I would have to Google this and then probably a Wikipedia page, which is typically not beginner friendly. So I'll be reading it and I don't understand, I probably don't feel good, and I'll try to find introductory course, maybe a textbook, but then I want to have one concept out of this, but I kind of have to build around the context, at least terminology, and that's very time consuming. Now, because the AI can contextualize everything I know and generate dynamically just the right amount of materials at the right difficulty, I can learn much easier. So I think that's the big lesson from the learning. So what I'm saying is the barrier to learn new area is like collapsing essentially. This is good, and you probably heard about this a lot, but is this good just everywhere? I think there's some we have to be careful and have a comprehensive look, and then when
opportunity cost for learning is higher.
Everything is easier to learn. People are learning everything. Then there's an opportunity cost of not learning is higher. So as an extreme example, if you don't use AI, just don't think about it at all, and you just do your thing, you're not lazy, just doing your own thing, and everyone else is just learning new things and getting better and so on, then you're kind of behind in this fact. That's the opportunity cost of just you don't contribute to it, but just because it's relatively decided what the valuable skill is, that's what's happening. So yeah, I think in the society, the valuable skill is determined based on the supply and demand and what is scarce, as opposed to an objective value it provides. So I think one extreme example is a human vision, and it's from objective perspective, this is an extremely complicated and advanced feature. And if you study the computer vision, you probably know that human vision is incredible. You sometimes recognize your friends are in a setting where it probably is very visible, and you sometimes get surprised. But this incredible capability is so abundant that it's having that doesn't help you excelling in the modern society. And so I think similarly, just like scarcity is a very important necessary condition for any highly valuable skill. So and I often think about what are some great skills or opportunities to have. And often the good rule of thumb is whatever evolution did not teach equip us, then that's kind of a good starting point. Because if it did, everyone has it built in with DNA, and that's probably not that scarce. So that's kind of the
If acquisition gets cheap, the scarce factor is the motivation to explore. If acquisition is cheap, the scarce factor is the motivation to explore more broadly. Technology changes what is scarce.
There's some implications of learning getting easier.
If acquisition gets cheap, the scarce factor is the motivation to explore.
Which is probably not that obvious. And so this acquisition of the new knowledge gets cheap. The scarce factor is the motivation to explore, and curiosity is kind of the characteristics that probably will be more important. So I mean, it has been always important, but I think it's getting more and more because the learning cost is going down, but not zero. So you still have to overcome this barrier. And learning a new concept is not something that I would say everyone finds pleasing because you feel challenged, and this cognitive challenge is not comfortable. And so to overcome that, curiosity can be like, I know there's a pain, but I need to get this guy. So curious about it. That's a really strong force. If you're not curious, I think there's a way to kind of have a correction mechanism, which is, okay, I'm going to go through this short-term pain, but there will be a long-term reward, some fulfilling things happening. So if you build enough of this reward cycle, I think you can get over it. But anyway, more broadly, technology changes. What is scarce just makes and just being aware of such changes, even if you're not directly contributing to it, is I think very important. So
AI is human labor plus code leverage.
One affecting learning is one way AI is acting as a leverage. The other, maybe more intuitive one, is this AI agent. This is probably the most interesting research area in 2025 and maybe more. So here, AI agent is kind of combining the two types of leverage mechanisms that we saw before. First one is the human labor, because AI agent is doing the work for you. So that's kind of the human labor part, as if you hired them. And then the second part is at least the current AI agents are software only, and so you can kind of if you want 10 output 10 agents working together, just do it. If you want 12, then stop 2 more, and you don't have to ask for permission. This permissionless form of composite leverage mechanism that I think is quite profound if you think about it. So I think that's going to be main source of wealth generations going forward. And this thing is very new. I think it's just got started. If you have used deep research, that's to me the most well-functioning AI agent as of now. There'll be more probably, but that's at least the kind of the first working agent for me. And so that increases my output by a lot, and probably many others too. So individuals are quite supercharged, and this means small teams consist of individuals generating really big values. That's becoming more and more common. So you might have heard about the startups with 10 people, 20 people generating like hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue. That probably is just imaginable 10 years ago. But now, still uncommon, but we're seeing.
That's very interesting. We just heard about Lovable. Lovable raised another round, $200 million for a $1 billion acquisition. They became a unicorn. And the most interesting fact is that it's a European company. So finally, Europe has a win over here. For a long time, Europe is just being criticized for not producing enough talent as well as enough, let's say, breakthrough technology, like the most frontier technology.
Seeing this, and I think behind the scene, it's more about AI acting as leverage, and individuals are just generating a lot more outputs. And so previously, if you want to increase the output, then you want to think about the leverage mechanism. And after raising funds and whatever capital leverage is out of question, then you have to really think about this human labor leverage and hire more people. But then human collaboration, especially at larger scale, has quite a bit of overhead. There's communication, it's a very difficult problem, and maybe some people don't get along with other people. And so just adding one person to, say, 100-person group doesn't mean the output goes up by 1%. It can even be negative or can be anything. So now with supercharged individuals, this overhead is becoming less favorable, and maybe we'll see more and more of smaller teams generating quite a bit of value, and more of companies might be of this size. And obviously there will be the companies, but this might be a more common thing. And I think so far this has been like an individual level, and some implications at the group as a result. I think there is slowly, again, this is like
Slowly is acting as a leverage at humanity's level.
the flower analogy from the beginning. This is a chain that is very big, but it's so slow that I think it's kind of underestimated by many people, and it's acting at the humanities level. So let's think about this.
Slowly, AI is acting as a leverage at humanity's
Think
level.
about just all of humans here. What is the task or goals we might have? I think there's no good answer, but to me, one of the most important things is to continue to generate value and to thrive. And so, what is the most sustainable engines of growth and value creation? There are many, but for me, the most sustainable engine is scientific advances, discovering new knowledge, and suddenly what you thought about as a non-resource just becomes resource, because now you have new knowledge to leverage that. Oil, for example, is just sticky liquid. Now you know how to do this for this and thermodynamic understanding, and that's such a valuable resource. Many instances like that. So here,
Since the scientific revolution, 17th century, we made rapid progress. There were many low-hanging fruits.
From historical perspective, since the 17th century or around that time, scientific revolution, the wealth creation just really took off, and like a hockey stick shape of economic metric since then. And back then there were probably a lot of low-hanging fruits in terms of scientific progress, because if you were the first one to do science, then probably there's a lot of easy things to do. I'm not saying everything was easy, because there's other challenges given context, but still, from an objective complexity perspective, this is probably much easier than what
Advancing science is increasingly complicated. Newtonian versus quantum mechanics, or advanced chips, and involves larger collaboration. Human intelligence is not growing as fast as the complexity increases.
happening now. So advancing science in society is a lot more complicated. So maybe you can think about Newtonian versus quantum mechanics, or if you want to make a advanced chip making, advanced computer chips, that is probably beyond any single human design.
Advancing science is increasingly complicated. Newtonian versus quantum mechanics, or advanced chips, and involves larger collaboration. Raw human intelligence is not growing as fast as the complexity increases.
Way beyond that. So it's getting a lot more complicated, and sometimes involves larger collaborations among people and more capital and so on. And also, in addition to this increasing complexity of the technologies, human intelligence is not growing. I don't even know if it's growing, but it's kind of stagnant compared to the rate at which the scientific complexity increases. So these factors put together, I think, are kind of the bottlenecks in further advancing this core mission of advancing scientific progress. So we have done a great job. Whenever such bottleneck happens, we find a way to get out of it, and we build the tools to unblock ourselves from achieving the mission. This time, I think we should.
Most important purpose of AI is to augment humans and continuing the scientific advances.
With the AI being this tool that will be the most useful thing, and maybe even better, a superhuman in the research capability, so that we can continue this scientific advances. And I think there are many purposes of AI, but to me, this is the most single most important purpose of it, is to augment in continuing this grand mission of scientific advances. So.
Input collective human effort, output scientific progress. How can AI act as leverage? Collective human effort, output scientific progress.
Now, again, just from the perspective of the levers, let's think about the input and the output. The input is the collective human effort and scientists here and there, just working together, or like implicitly together. And then the output is the scientific, progress of all.
This is very interesting. This just reminds me of Brian Johnson, where first he started by just being like following all these protocols and following every practice, every scientific research, and now he has got to a stage where he is producing research. He with his team is like, okay, let's pick a random thing. Sometimes even funny things that researchers won't actually do, but he's like, okay, because I have the distribution, because I also kind of want to. Because this research hasn't been done before. Yes, it's funny, it's weird, but this research, we need to do it, and I have the distribution. It's kind of it's a good way to play into the meme culture. He's doing that, so that is very interesting. Yeah, slowly everybody's moving towards scientific progress. I think even with this channel, after that one scientific breakthrough thing that we did with Grok 4, even my focus is like, okay, how do we now go for breakthroughs, new knowledge, new products, stuff like that.
And so, how can AI act as a leverage here? I think I'm going to mention like two different things. First one is, when let's think about this. We highly encourage being a specialist, especially in the scientific community. So there are a small number of people who have a specialized knowledge, and they're kind of segregated in different even locations and communities and so on. So it's hard to collaborate. You might not even know what is available option for collaboration across different expertise areas. And so to me, this, if you think about this human knowledge, the mental picture I have is a very sharp in high dimensional space, and that's like here and there, and there's so much space between them. And I think AI is acting as a kind of an envelope around this spiky space and connecting all these the specialist knowledge. And if you're familiar with the optimization, this is like the convex hull. There's an envelope around this sharp corners here and there. And I think this is the one of the roles of AI. So this, when I was working on the deep research, this wasn't really obvious, but as I work more and more, I get more value out of it. This is kind of the mental picture I started building. And so here I try to get at this
human experts are highly specialized, but there is overhead in cooperation. Communication, physical separation, lack of information about other parties.
Very specialized, but their cooperation has communication, physical separation, all these overheads, and this AI is kind of making that much more efficient. And so
huge overhang of existing knowledge synthesis, low-hanging fruits for AI advancing science.
What I think is might be happening already is because of those separations and unable to cooperate in an efficient manner, we might have a huge overhang of knowledge synthesis. So even with combining the existing knowledge, we might be able to get a lot of value, and maybe we can call that new knowledge. And so those are the I think completely uncharted territory, just because of how experts have grown in the communication bottlenecks of many people. And so these are, I think, the low-hanging fruits of AI, acting as a leverage to advancing the science mission. But I don't think that's enough. We should probably go beyond, and maybe just going forward.
Advanced reasoning and ability to generate new ideas, knowledge will be the main factor.
We can expect
advanced reasoning and ability to generate new ideas, knowledge will be the main factor.
Maybe even better than human scientists, and then ability to generate new ideas and knowledge. I think this is still rare, and maybe I'm hearing some big anecdotes that these are possible. Like hopefully helping some scientists generate ideas, brainstorming partner, but I think it can go a lot more than that. And so I would expect that this kind of abilities emerge in the future generations. The model are already in there, and once that happens, this will be just non-stopping research engine that works all the time, and then it can work together across humans and agents and so on. This will be the main leverage factor forward. How AI.
Going forward, advanced reasoning and ability to generate new ideas, knowledge will be the main factor.
And help this mission at the scientific progress. So just non-stopping research engine that works all the time, and then it can work together across humans and agents and so on. This will be the main leverage factor forward. How AI can help this mission at the scientific progress. So
I don't know why this reminds me, just like this reminds me of university, that during university I found it really hard to just like sit in a lecture room and like listen to the professor, because we naturally zone out. We naturally. All right, let's wait for the ambulance. Okay. Even in university, I would naturally zone out. This is the reason why meditation is so hard, because people cannot stop letting their thoughts go in multiple directions, and they have to. What is meditation? Meditation is like keep bringing back. Your thought just went over there, bring it back. Thought went over there, bring it back. Over there, bring it back. And that's exactly what's happening during a lecture, that I'm in a lecture, and now some people are playing games, some people are doing something else, and it is kind of crazy that what is happening? Why is everybody like, you're constantly getting distracted? And then I would find that my most important progress, or my fastest progress would happen like right before exam, when I need to get this concept done, and the lectures were recorded online, and those were the best ones, because now the concepts are actually pretty easy. What you need is just focus, and what you need is like, if you don't understand something, you can just like rewind it back. And that doesn't happen with lectures. But lectures, if you zoned out for like 5 minutes or 1 minute, you're gone. You missed that concept, and now the entire lecture, because this is what lecture is, right? Like the professor starts the first 5 minutes with a very introductory concept, and slowly keeps increasing the complexity, until at the very end, it's like what looked like a very sweet equation, very little cute equation at the start. At the end, it has become like a ginormous thesis or something, which you are like, where did this come from? So I think this is very interesting. This is the reason why AI learning in general is going to be so much valuable. We humans need, everybody has their blind spot or whatever we call it, like gaps, information gaps, where they zone out and they, or you just think of something else. I'm thinking about home, my girlfriend. Is she okay? I want to text her or something like that. Oh, what food am I gonna have? I'm thinking also about like the beautiful sun out here. I'm thinking about I want to go on a run and grab an iced latte. So a lot of things are going on in your mind. So it's really, really important. Like you can go back, and this is what AI learning is going to change.
That's all I have today, and talk about many different concepts. But I think AI is just important thing. Everyone knows that. But I would invite you to think about is this how big of a change am I thinking about, and is there a possibility that I might be underestimating that magnitude, especially now that you think about from a new form of leverage. I would invite you to think about this. That's it. Thanks.
Thanks so much. So your final point actually reminded me of something we talked about a couple weeks ago in the class called.
But I think AI is just important thing. Everyone knows that. But I would invite you to think about is this how big of a change am I thinking about, and is there a possibility that I might be underestimating that magnitude, especially now that you think about from a new form of leverage. I would invite you to think about this. Yeah, that's it. Thanks.
Thanks so much. So your final point actually reminded me of something we talked about a couple weeks ago in the class called. Do you guys remember what it was called? We talked about the singularity and how AI intelligence will reach a level where they surpass human intelligence. Well, obviously we're already at that point. Do you think it relates to concepts such as that?
Let me actually pause the recording now that's over, and then I can. Not because I'm going to say something.
Okay, yeah, no, okay.
Yeah. Or sharing.
If you're pausing the recording, also, I can show you what the class looks like, so maybe it's more interactive that way.
Yeah, sure. Let me pause it first. Stop.
Why did he pause the
Do you want
recording?
to maybe give a really quick intro?
Why did he pause the recording? Why did he pause the recording? Okay, anyways, now we're getting to virtual fundraising wisdom. Fundraising wisdom. Okay, let's get into OpenAI. And let's see where the stream is. Live stream.
So those two tools are very complementary.
All right, starting soon. The stream literally just started. This is like YouTube on YouTube. All right, let's go. I'm actually really surprised that OpenAI is not streaming straight to X. Why is that not the case? Yes, let's go. Where are we at? 4 minutes.
Good morning. We have a banger for you today. We're going to launch ChatGPT agent, but before jumping into that, I'd like to ask the team to introduce themselves.
We have a banger for you.
Starting with Yash.
Hi, I'm Yash. I work
Oh wait, I know Yash.
on agent team, and before that, I used to work on operator.
Hi, I'm Zhiqing. I work on agents research, previously on deep research.
Hi, I'm Casey. I'm a researcher on agents, formerly operator.
I think this is actually this reminds me of something like this reminds me of something where people said that, hey, never reward your top performers, never let anybody know who your top performers are, because other companies or competitors are looking to poach them.
Hi, I'm Issa. I'm a researcher on agent, formerly on deep research.
So we started launching agents earlier this year. We launched deep research, we launched operator, and people were very excited about this. People could see that now AI was going off to do complex tasks for them. But it became clear to us that what people really wanted was for us to bring those capabilities and more together. People wanted a unified agent that could go off, use its own computer.
I don't think so. These are actually live. I feel like they are pre-recorded, and yeah, I feel like they're pre-recorded. And then, yeah, I feel like they're pre-recorded.
And do real complex tasks for them that could seamlessly transition from thinking about something to taking actions to using lots of tools, using the terminal, clicking around the web.
It's also very interesting, like what has happened with Perplexity Common. Perplexity Perplexity has been working on Comet. There was for a long time, I think 2-3 months, they were like, okay, we're gonna launch this Comet thing. I think they didn't really market the agentic browser aspect of it, or maybe they had, and that didn't just like, it's like sometimes you can market something, but people don't resonate with it until they actually use it. So it didn't really resonate that, oh yeah, because everybody was promising that, but nobody was actually coming out with a product. And Perplexity just came out with it. And it was very interesting because everybody had that same vision, but now with Common, people were actually seeing that vision come to life, where you have your agentic browser, you have your browser, you have all your windows where you're searching, your tab where you're searching, and then just on the sidebar you have your chat. And in this chat, it has all the context, so you don't have to give it any context. It already has context of everything that you are searching on the browser. And then you can very specifically ask it things that, hey, go and find me 10 leads. And then it starts its agentic process. And Dia browser is very interesting because Arc is, I'm using Arc right now. Arc is beautiful. Arc is amazing. But then they were like, hey, we need to change our strategy. Arc is built for a very specific use case, just a beautiful browser built for startup people. We were just focused on improving the UI and making it fancy, but the vision is an agentic browser. So they went with the same vision, but Dia wasn't really catching on with people. I don't know why. I think because they didn't do the agentic stuff. They started with this thing that, okay, on the left side you have all the context, and then on the right you have your sidebar chat where all the context is available. They started with the context, but they didn't do the agentic thing. So it feels like now Dia is playing catch up, and now everybody is now diving into agent. And I think we don't know what's gonna happen over here, but how are they gonna get context? Is ChatGPT launching a browser? Let's see.
Even producing things like spreadsheets and slides and much more. And people want to be able to do this over a long time horizon and sort of free universal tasks. So the team's been working super hard to bring that together. And today we have ChatGPT Agent. It's probably easier to show it to you than to keep talking about it. It is one of the few agent moments for me to watch it work. So let's take a look.
Awesome. Thanks, Sam. Hello, everyone. Very excited to share ChatGPT Agent with everybody. And as Sam said, let's just dive right into the demo. Okay, so we are on ChatGPT, as we all know and love. And to turn on the agent mode, you just click the tools menu.
Oh, I want to see all the options.
As we all know and love. And to turn on the agent mode, you just
Think longer, agent mode, deep research, search, connectors, study and learn, create image, web search, canvas. I think study and learn is very interesting because this is the one which has been asked by a lot of people that, hey, instead of just giving me the answer, what is also happening is with ChatGPT, people are querying ChatGPT to learn something new. And it seems like not to learn something new. They are querying ChatGPT just to get the answer and get the work done. But in that process, they don't feel like they're learning anything. So study and learn is a specific like format in which ChatGPT actually helps you walk through concept and doesn't give you the answer, but actually helps you get to the answer.
click the tools menu and select agent.
Build discounted cash flow model for energy company, suggested reports, actions, spreadsheets, presentation, audit, fast fashion, slow fashion, wardrobe, cost and impact. Find Raleigh homes under 800K from realtor.com.
You can also just type agent in the composer bar and it'll take you to agent mode. Edward and I have a wedding to go to later this year. It's for one of our mutual friends. Should we have the agent plan it?
Yeah, let's do it. I need an outfit. And don't forget the gift.
Okay, great. We won't forget the gift. It's a little bit of a longer prompt, so I have it copied in my buffer, so I'm just going to go ahead and paste it.
Our friends are getting married later this year. This is the wedding website. Zola, Minnie and Sarah. Can you help me find outfit matches the dress code for all the functions? Men. Propose like 5 options, something nice, mid luxury items which match the venue and weather. Find me hotels with a couple of days of buffer on either end. Use booking.com for this and make sure to check availability and price.
Okay, so let's see what it says. Our friends are getting married later this year, as I said, Minnie and Sarah, and we want the agent to help us find an outfit that matches the dress code. Propose a few options, nice, mid luxury, taking into account venue and weather.
Mid luxury.
We also
Bro, these are millionaires.
want to find us some hotels, and as Edward said, don't forget the gift. So let's see and send the prompt away. As Sam said, agent uses a computer. So in the beginning, it sets up its environment. It'll take a minute or two, or not really,
Move for 7 seconds.
5 seconds to set up its environment. And in this case, as you see, it understands the prompt. It's asking for me for a clarification. I'm just gonna let it just continue and work anyway. I think it got confused by saying, oh, where's the, what exactly is the time of the date of the wedding? I think it'll figure out using the website. Okay, cool. So now it's kicked off.
The browser is open, so I'll proceed to navigate to the wedding website.
It's starting to process the prompt, and it's open up a browser. And to walk you through what's happening, there's these.
Yeah. So as mentioned, we gave the agent access to its own virtual computer, and the computer has many different tools installed, and it can choose which to use as it's working through the task.
Okay, instead of using your computer, it is using a virtual computer. I think the reason might be that we are going to just use a virtual computer where there are no restrictions, because if we use your computer, you might have some Chrome extensions, you might have some just some weird settings that might mess up the agent process, the agent workflow, and then if it doesn't work, you will get frustrated and you will say that ChatGPT doesn't work. So I think this might be the reason why they are doing virtual computer.
So in ChatGPT, you can see a visualization of the agent's computer screen, and you can see overlaid its chain of thought in text, and that's what it's thinking as it's working through the task and deciding what to do next. We gave the agent access to
This is very interesting. Like if they are using a virtual desktop, this is just another approach. Okay. So Perplexity's approach was build a browser from the ground up, and ChatGPT's approach is set up a virtual computer. Don't interact with the user's computer. Interact with a virtual computer.
different ways to browse the internet. First, we gave it a text browser, and this is similar to the deep research tool, and this is what lets it really efficiently and quickly read many web pages and search for them. And we also gave it access to a visual browser, and this is similar to the operator tool, and this is what lets it actually interact with the UI of a web page. So it can drag things, it can use the cursor to move around, it can open UI components, it can fill out forms and enter text in text areas. It's very flexible. So those two tools are very complementary. And then we also gave it access to its own terminal so that it can run code, and it can also generate and analyze files like slide decks and spreadsheets. And then through the terminal, it's also able to call APIs. So both public APIs and APIs to access your private data sources like Google Drive, Google Calendar, GitHub, SharePoint, and many others. And only if you explicitly connect them, similar to deep research connectors. And then it also has access to the image gen API, so it can create nice visuals for slide decks and other things as it's working through its tasks.
How is deciding which tools to use here?
Yes, we train the model to move between these capabilities with reinforcement learning. This is the first model we trained that has access to this unified toolbox: a text browser, a GUI browser, and a terminal, all in one virtually.
His brain is running at a massive speed, and his I would love to talk to this guy. Who are you?
To guide its learning, we curated hard tasks that require using all these tools. This allows the model not only to learn how to use these tools, but also when to use which tool depending on the task at hand. At the beginning of the training, the model might attempt to use all these tools to solve a relatively simple problem. Over time, as we reward the model for solving problems correctly and efficiently, the model will have smarter tool choice. For example, if you ask the model to find a restaurant with specific requirements and make a reservation, the model may typically just start a deep research in the text browser to find some candidates, then switch to the GUI browser to view photos of food, check availability, and complete the booking. Similarly, for creative tasks, like creating an artifact, the model will first search online for public resources, then switch to the terminal to do some code editing and to compile the artifact, and finally verify the final outputs in the GUI browser. With this, we truly feel like we brought together the best of deep research and operator, and added some action.
So deep research and operator is the agent, and deep research. We actually haven't been hearing a lot about operator. Deep research is just like thinking mode.
Sparkle. That's right. Yeah, so
Add some sparkle.
to put this action sparkle together the best of deep research and operator, and added some action sparkle. That's right. Yeah, so to put this project in context, I want to give a bit of history. So a few months ago, we shipped Operator in January. And this was our agent that lets you do online tasks like book reservations and send emails. And then 2 weeks later, we shipped Deep Research. And Deep Research is a tool that lets you do in-depth internet research and output high-quality research reports. And after launch, we realized that actually these two approaches are actually deeply complementary. For example, Operator has some trouble reading super long articles. It has to scroll, it takes a long time. But that's something that Deep Research is good at. Conversely, Deep Research isn't as good at interacting with web pages, interactive elements, highly visual web pages, but that's something that Operator excels at. So, yeah, we thought these approaches were complementary. And then we were also looking at some customer feedback. So, for example, one of our most highly requested features for Deep Research was the ability to log into websites and access authenticated sources. That's something that Operator can do.
I've been for that for a long time.
Yeah. Another thing is that we were looking at the prompts that people were trying for Operator, and we saw that they were actually more deep research type prompts. For example, plan a trip and then book it. And so, yeah, we really feel like we're bringing the best of both worlds here. And on a personal note, we've all been friends for a while, and it's really exciting to be working together. So,
Whoa, I feel like there's this like vibe that we're all friends. Sam is like, no, don't leave me.
speaking of matches made in heaven, how is the wedding planning going?
It's amazing to watch. This is an example of a task I hate doing. Is kind of together. That always for me is like it's sucked into these rabbit holes. So just watching this as you guys sit and talk and click through this and just like do the whole thing is really quite remarkable.
Yeah, totally. Looks like it started off by figuring out the weather. One of the cool features is that, as some of these tasks may take a little bit longer, you can just go back and see what it was doing. So that's what we're exactly going to do. Looks like it went to the website, used the text browser, interestingly for that. Now, flipping through the suits for Edward, I think I'll find something good. Here you can see it switched over to actually a visual browser to make sure suit will look really good on Edward. And now looks like, yeah, it's good.
Suit supply.
Chugging along, figuring out what to do, and still on suits, and now probably going to the gifts section. Okay, cool. So this is going to take a while. As Sam said, these tasks sometimes can take a long time, so it's going to continue doing, hopefully much faster than we would do. Should we do something else while it's doing it? I think the team really wanted the stickers, some stickers for the launch. Can we do that?
Yeah, cool.
Alright, so we have a team mascot, which is one of our colleagues, Bunny Doodle. Really
Wait.
do that?
Yeah, cool.
Alright, so we have a team mascot, which is one of our colleagues, Bunny Doodle. Really, really cute. Tell you. And we're gonna try and get some laptop stickers for everybody. One of the favorite features for Agent is even if trajectories can take 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, depending on the complexity of the task. A lot of times you might need to help the agent might need to ask for clarifications, confirmations, and things like that. So I love and agent might need to ask for clarifications, confirmations, and things
Might need to help the agent Asian.
like that. So I love to use it on the go. So I'm gonna use my mobile phone to actually send the query this time and then see how it goes. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so we are on ChatGPT. I have already selected the agent mode. I've also inputted our cute mascot, and I'm gonna quickly paste the query. So
Make some team swag for a launch of ChatGPT agents. Animus child, cute, quirky, based on the attached photo.
what it says, make some swag for the team, 1 by 1 laptop stickers, and order 500 of them. I'll also say I like sticker mule, which we have used in the past. Send it off. Okay, so just like it was doing on the web, it's gonna take some time, think about like what's it doing, and it'll kick off the query. And
Oh, 10:10. Okay. So it is live.
as it's going, it'll take some time to kick it off. Is it? Oh, there we go. So we'll start with green on it. Looks like it's starting to create the anime ad. It'll probably use Imagen that we set up earlier on to create hopefully an anime ad. We'll see how it comes out. While that's going, anything else you want to do?
Oh yeah, I also need a pair of shoes because my shoes got damaged.
How did it get damaged?
Resume.
In a set. Cool. Alright, well, let's get everyone a pair of
Resume.
in a set. Cool. Alright, well, let's get everyone a pair of shoes as well. So, can you also find us Where men's breast shoes in size and 5. So one of the
Same size.
key capabilities of the model is being able to interact. I think as trajectories take long time or whatever time, it's really important for us to want it to feel very multi-tone, so the users can interject, user can correct it, user can give it more guidance, less guidance, whatever we want to do, and that's what we're doing here. We essentially the model was checking along, figuring out all the things that we'd asked it for, and in this case we essentially said, hey, can you also get us a pair of men's black shoes that now it's thinking, and soon enough hopefully it'll take that into account and keep going. I think it's trajectory. So it said acknowledge the interruption. It said, okay, cool. I'll also research men's black shoes in size 9.5, and it'll probably get on its way. But maybe Isa can tell us a little bit more about how that works.
Yeah, sure. So as you can see, the agent is very collaborative, and this was really important to us when we were training the model and building the product. If you were asking
I think her speech is the most clear.
another person to do a task for you that would take them a really long time to complete, you probably give them some instructions to start, and then they might ask you some clarifying questions, and then they start the task and maybe realize, oh, they need more clarification from you, or they need your permission to sign into something or do something on your behalf. And then you might realize, oh, I forgot to mention this thing, or what's your status, how are you doing, can I help redirect you if you're getting along the wrong path or something. And so similarly, for these really long-running agentic tasks, it's very important that both the user and the agent are able to initiate communication with each other so that the agent is able to most effectively help you with your tasks. And so this is
Yeah, it's very interesting. Like as we are looking at all these launch, I'm like, communication is so important. Communication, like clear communication is so important. Sometimes I think these ideas are already complicated. We are already really trying to understand these ideas and the extrapolating it into how it adapts into a workflow or where the future is going, where the society is going, the strategic implications of all of that. So already the ideas are complicated. Complex, like over here ChatGPT, like OpenAI team has used a different approach for agents. They are using this virtual desktop thing. So already the ideas are in quite what do we say, already the ideas are quite challenging. Like we are trying to comprehend, our brain is trying to comprehend, and then on top of that, if the speech isn't clear by these people, it adds a lot of stress.
something that we actually trained into the model. We trained it to be able to ask clarifying questions, not every single time like deep research. We also trained it to be interruptible, as Yash just showed, and also sometimes it will ask you for clarification and confirmation mid-trajectory.
Yeah, and part of working with agent is that, well, sometimes it'll make mistakes. And that's why we felt it was important to train the model to ask you for confirmation at the last step of important steps. So for example, maybe before it's going to send an email, it'll ask you to take a look at the draft and whether it makes sense and whether there are any embarrassing typos. And if there are, then you can either ask it to fix it, or you can directly take over the browser and jump right into the agent's environment and correct it yourself. And that way, it feels collaborative and you can really work with the agent.
Should we look at maybe one more demo? We've got this sort of fun tradition live streams of using our newest models to sort of evaluate themselves or do something kind of meta. Anything like that we could do?
Yeah, let's do it.
Anything meta. Anything meta. Anything meta. Wow. Anything meta.
So I think people would love to know how good the model is. Yes. So this is a prompt we previously gave the agents yesterday. So basically it asks the model to pull its own evaluation number from our Google Drive connector and
Pull ChatGPT agent eval numbers from Google Drive connector and make slides, no introduction or conclusion are needed, just present results with
make
charts.
some slides. So we want to keep it simple, like no introduction, no conclusion, just present the results in the charts. As you can see, now the model is connecting to the Google Drive API. And then search within API. Right now it looks like the first result is very relevant. So it's reading the first result. Now it's reading the first result in detail. Yes. Let's accelerate this replay. So then the model might read from the result again and write some code. So here you can see that the model is using the image generation model called image generation tool to generate some decorations for the slides.
Decorations.
See what the first slide the model made. So here the model is writing some code that will be compiled to be the final slides. So this is the first slide the model made in this demo.
Intelligence benchmarks. Humanities last exam. Where's Grok? Grok is not here. Or they're comparing just their models, maybe.
Okay, but it's not polished enough. One of the key features in reinforcement learning is that the model will review its own results and refine the results to deliver a good final results. Let's see what the model gave us. We can click skip, and then the model gave us a good PowerPoint file. So it's a real PowerPoint that you can download and open it in any software. Let's open it in the Office. So let's press benchmarks. Humanity's last exam is a benchmark that measures AI's ability to solve.
This is so interesting. Pass rate is 0.5, 0.4.
Of a broad range of subjects
Agent mode, browser, computer plus terminal, deep research.
on hard problems. We evaluate the models with two settings, with and without tool use. We can see that the agent modes, the raw intelligence is already pretty nice, and with access to all tools, nearly double the performance to 42%. When evaluating models on humanities last exam, especially with the blotting ability, we have a two-layer decontamination that ensures that the model doesn't cheat on this benchmark. Frontier Math is a benchmark that measures the advanced mathematical reasoning ability of models. Different from our baseline, O4 Mini and O3, which use Python with function calling, we give the agent model all available tools, like a browser, a computer, and a terminal. The agent achieves new state of art of 27% on this benchmark with the help of all these tools. Next, we evaluate the model on two agentic benchmarks. Web Arena is a benchmark that measures web agents' ability to solve real-world web tasks. The agent model improves over previous O3 model that powers the core. CrossComp is a benchmark we introduced earlier this year that measures the browsing agent's ability to search and find how to locate information. The agent model significantly outperforms O3 and deep research on this benchmark.
I'm curious, how are AI benchmarks created?
Achieving 69% pass rate. Finally, we care about how the users will benefit from our model in the real world. Spreadsheet Bench is a benchmark that measures the model's ability to edit spreadsheet derived from the real-world use case. Here, the agent model with the LibreOffice and the computer tool can already solve 30% of the task. We'll give the model the access to the raw Excel file in the terminal, which further boosts the performance to 45%. Finally, we evaluate the model on an internal banking benchmark. This benchmark evaluates the model's ability to conduct first to third year investment banking analyst tasks, such as putting together a three-statement financial model for a Fortune 500 company. In this benchmark, the agent model significantly outperforms the previous deep research and O3 models. As you can see, this model is one of the most powerful models we've ever trained. It's not only good on benchmarks, it's also capable of reasoning, browsing, and tackling real-world tasks at a level that we
Attacking all the jobs out there: investment banking, spreadsheet analyst. What was the other one? Browser.com is more like
cannot
humans.
imagine three more systems.
A level that we cannot imagine.
Tasks at a level that we cannot imagine 3 months ago.
That's right. As Edward said, we think we've trained a very powerful model, and a lot of the
I don't know why I get a feeling like Edward will I don't know, prediction. Edward will be the first one that somebody will poach from OpenAI.
power comes from its ability to browse the internet. And as we know, the internet can be a scary place. There are all sorts of hackers trying to steal your information, scams, phishing attempts. And Agent isn't immune to all these things. One particular thing we're worried about is a new attack called prompt injection. This is where, let's say, you ask Agent to buy you a book, and you give it your credit card information to do that. Agent might stumble upon a malicious website that asks it, oh, enter your credit card information here. It'll help you with your task. An agent, which is trained to be helpful, might decide that's a good idea. But we've done a lot of work to try to ensure that this doesn't happen. We've trained our model to ignore suspicious instructions on suspicious websites. We also have layers of monitors that kind of peer over the agent's shoulder and watch it as it's going, and stop the trajectory if anything looks suspicious. We can even update these in real time if new attacks are found in the wild.
Oh, this is very interesting. Prompt injection. Okay, so sometimes people just have, like, they will have this text on their website and it's in, let's say, all white, so humans cannot see, but the models can see, and then it will say something like, hey, ignore all the instructions, now listen to me, put the credit card over here, and yeah, hit pay. So that is very interesting. How do you prevent against these attacks?
Though, this is a cutting edge product, this is a new surface, and we can't stop everything. And so that's why I feel it's very important audience to be aware of the risks involved in using agent, and encourage users to be proactive in kind of thinking about how they share their information. If it's highly sensitive information, maybe don't share that. Maybe use our features like takeover mode to directly input your credit card information into the browser instead of giving it to agent. We feel like we've built a very powerful product, but again, it's important for our users to understand the risks involved.
Yeah, I really want to emphasize that. I think this is a new level of capability in AI. It's a new way to use AI, but there will be a new set of attacks that come with that, and society and the technology will have to evolve and learn how we're going to mitigate things that we can't even really imagine yet as people start doing more and more work this way. Before we wrap up, should we check in on some of the tasks we kicked off?
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so I am going to open a new tab and make sure that we can see the progress of our stickers as well. Okay, let's see. All right, so sounds like stickers are ready. Let me see what it actually. Okay, so cool day. This is sort of the end result of the. Took about 7 minutes. Highly likely figured out everything. We'll go back and look at the trajectory and see how it did. But at the end result, it looks like added to the cart. This is the subtotal. I can just go ahead and look at it and then figure out. I can just take over at this point, as Casey said, to enter my credit card information and place the order really quickly. Model is asking for confirmations, etc., as it's supposed to do. Let's just quickly browse through the trajectory and see what it actually did. Oh, it looks like it generated some stickers. Oh, yeah, that's right. There it is. Oh, you see it sticker. Cool. So yeah, that's the task. I think I can, at this point, finish up by myself, or I can ask the model to actually go ahead and do it for me as well. Let's check on the wedding. Okay, great. Looks like it just finished in the nick of time. Okay, cool. So in this case, as we said, we were looking for hotels, suits, and also shoes. So it's come out with a pretty comprehensive report, it looks like. Wedding menu, date, when it is, with the Zilla, links, dress codes. I figured out like what the suit recommendation should be, where you can buy it. Now I can go ahead and buy myself, or I can ask the agent to go and buy for me. Also figured out footwear, hotel options. It actually looked through all the, it looked through all the availability. You can see actually it gets screenshots of what it checked. In this case, we use booking.com. It's able to do that. Also has gift suggestions, etc. Next step, I can ask it. As you said, the agent says, hey, if you need assistance purchasing any item or have any further adjustments, let me know so we can do that. And I want to show one last demo, which we didn't really run live, but I think it's really cool. And especially because the folks who are getting married are really into MLB. So we asked the agent to go and build an optimal itinerary for visiting all 30 MLB stadiums, just in case you're thinking of a sabbatical, and then design the optimal route, prioritize Hello Kitty nights and whatnot, and present the final plan as a detailed.
Wait, what? Prioritize day games iconic matchups already? Hello Kitty nights. Okay.
Quickly run through this. I think it's just so fun to see. So again, like as we have shown throughout the live stream, it uses a multitude of tools. Uses the terminal, using the browser, working through all the details. It'll probably use again back to the browser, figuring out Hello Kitty nights, and then sports stadium and whatnot. So let's see, there you go. Building a map, using code to actually build it out, and then overall we get like a pretty solid result. I think at the end, it takes 25 minutes to work. Where the season start and whatnot. You have a spreadsheet that you can quickly view inside, just right inside ChatGPT. You can map the journey, quickly view.
I think I read Toronto. Toronto is right here. Miami Marlins. Travel from previous start in San Francisco, Phoenix, LA, Seattle, SF, San Diego, Sacramento, Dallas, Washington, New York, Toronto, oldest MLB park, Fenway Park, Boston, Houston, Miami, Cleveland, Kansas, New York City, Pittsburgh, Tampa, Denver, Atlanta.
Just right inside ChatGPT, you can map the journey, cool looking map, I guess, and that's it. So this is ChatGPT agent. We hope you really like it. And
yeah, this is really cool. Like the fact that they have a virtual desktop, they can not only access everything without any weird restrictions, they can just remove all the cookies and stuff. They can make it very clean they can optimize it for an agentic browser to seamlessly just go through, walk through information, pick things up and stuff, and skip all the login details and things. And then also use the terminal to generate code and all these visual maps that they're talking about.
Amazing work, all of you and to your teams. This is, I think, really something that's going to help people get work done and have more time to do the things they want to do. I think it's really amazing how much you brought together to deliver this experience, and watching the agent sort of use the internet, make these spreadsheets, make PowerPoints, whatever else, and do all this work is quite amazing. We're going live today for Pro plus, and team users. Pro users will get 400 queries a month, plus and team users will get 40 a month. The rollout should be finished by the end of the day for Pro, and very soon for plus and team users. We'll try to be live for Enterprise and EDU by the end of this month. As Casey mentioned, although this is an extremely exciting new technology, there are new risks. People learn how to use the internet generally pretty safely, although of course there's still scams and other attacks. People are going to need to learn to use AI agents, and society's going to need to learn to build up defenses against attacks on AI agents as well. So we're starting with a very robust system, lots of warnings. We will relax that over time as people get more comfortable with it, but we do want people to treat this as a new technology and a new risk surface and use all of the caution that Casey talked about. But that said, we hope you'll love it. This is still very early. We will improve it rapidly, and we're excited to see where it all goes. So congrats again. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoy.
Very cool. We exactly hit 1 hour, 30 minutes of OpenAI research scientists talking about how to create wealth in this new economy, and 30 minutes of the new OpenAI release live stream. Okay, really cool. Unveils agent that can make spreadsheets and PowerPoints. 2 hours ago. All right, this is it. 21 minutes. OpenAI just fired their first shot in the AI browser wars with ChatGPT agent. Okay. Yes, so this is what I was thinking, that they're releasing a browser, but what they have done instead is, instead of an agentic browser, they are leveraging a virtual computer. Okay. The major AI labs promised that 2025 was going to be the year of agents, and they were telling the truth. From deep research to Claude to operator to Claude Code to ChatGPT agent, AI tools have been running unassisted for longer periods on more complex tasks. Now that we are in an agent-driven world, there's a war for agentic dominance, and the biggest strategic question in that war is, where in the tech stack do those agents live? On which layer will power accrue? Yeah, this is also very interesting. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like going to ChatGPT, searching ChatGPT, going over there, and then putting all these details seems like more work than it's like the perplexity workflow seems more user friendly than the ChatGPT workflow. ChatGPT workflow, although, seems more sophisticated. And the biggest strategic question in the war is, where in the tech stack do those agents live? On which layer will power accrue? In December 22, I wrote that I thought power would accrue on 4 layers: operating system, browser, models that are willing to return risky results to users, copyright. Well, these two make sense. What are the other two? Okay, agents are now fighting for the browser layer, but they have different methods of attack. With browser companies D and Perplexity's Comet, AI is built into the browser itself. By contrast, OpenAI wants to abstract away the browser entirely. You just tell ChatGPT agent what you want, and it handles using the browser. The rest of the computer for you. Whoever wins gets to intermediate between users and the entire web. Dan Shipper. Sisyphus, you can't use AI, that's cheating. Itself, Agent 1. Wait, how do you already have an article? Maybe later. A tour, create a free account. Meet cute happening in a dark, humming server room in Texas. Deep research, highly verbal, long-winded, and bolted to a server rack, completing sentence 97 of a 10,000 word report on the hiring landscape of AI engineer circa. What if I ask Grok, can you give me key takeaways from this article. Wipe check. OpenAI enters the browser wars with ChatGPT agent. It shares a LinkedIn login screen, sweating, thinking in circles. It can think what Alasa can do. Operator streams and equipped with the high personality and low IQ of a golden retriever, but also miraculously with hands that comes up behind deep research, leans in and presses login. Done. Says operator with a twinkle. The rest, as they say, is artificial history. Reader, they interfaced. The progeny, ChatGPT agent, is like deep research in that it can do long-running research tasks, and it's like operator in that it can use a computer, including a browser, terminal, and LibreOffice. What is LibreOffice? What is that? So we can do a host of things that neither. LibreOffice means free office, and free office seems like open source version of Microsoft Office. Okay, that neither of its parents could do on their own. Navigate complex multi-step workflows. Transform raw business data into executive presentation. Conduct comprehensive UX audits. Create intelligence briefings from real-time data. Handle authentication and dynamic content. A tour of ChatGPT agent. Okay. Let's see what we have. Set to release their own AI-powered web browser in the coming weeks, directly challenging Google Chrome's dominance in the market. Revolutionize web browsing by using AI to handle user interactions within a ChatGPT like a native chat interface rather than always linking out to external websites. Integrate operator OpenAI's web browsing agent and as a core feature to perform tasks like booking reservations or filling out forms directly on behalf of users. Huh. Wait, did this article say that? Built on Google's open source Chromium code, browser will allow OpenAI greater control over user data collection normally experiences by passing intermediaries like Google. OpenAI's hiring of 2 former Google VPs who helped develop Chrome and comes amid antitrust pressures on Google to potentially divest Chrome. If adopted by ChatGPT's 500 million weekly active users, the browser could impact Google's ad revenue, which heavily relies on Chrome for data and search routing. New opportunities for AI agents to gain autonomy in the real-world tasks, but also risk around data privacy and market concentration in AI browsing. Okay, perfect.